the top 3 trick questions a cop might ask during a traffic stop and how you should answer. Question 1.
Where are you headed today?
Or,
Where are you coming from?
this one's iffy. He's hoping you'll say, I'm coming from a Super Bowl party or something similar, so he can develop enough reasonable suspicion to hook you up for a DUI. The safe bet is, I'd rather not answer that. But if you're leaving church or your shift as a volunteer at the children's hospital and you think that may work in your favor, that's your call. Question 2.
Do you know why I stopped you?
He knows why he stopped you, but he's hoping you'll provide more bait for his little fishing trip. So listen carefully. I don't care if you were doing 80 in a school zone on 4 bald tires with a dead hooker hanging out your trunk. The answer here is a simple no. And question 3.
Would you mind if I just took a quick look around inside your car?
Same fishing trip, but now he just wants to see how stupid you are. You're not, so the answer is I do not give you permission to search my person or my vehicle. Bottom line, be polite but firm and never forget this was an adversarial situation the moment you saw those lights in your rear view. Share your thoughts in the comments below and follow me here and at stevelazarusbooks.com for more.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sunset Rants. I'm your host, Biddy, and I'm here again with Mad Stork. What's up?
Nothing much. It's just been an interesting week for me. Every day is a little more crazy than the last, but I'm trying to get out of the country on Friday, so it's trying to cram everything into 4 days. A little bit of a problem.
Oh yeah. This is even like the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or holidays that and New Year's is like, it seems so short. Like, even though like you're looking forward to it, whatever, it just seems so short. Like everything, especially when you're trying to get a bunch of stuff done. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. First time
I did. For me, the craziest week though is always the.
Oh, you muted a little bit. I mean, a lot of it. You're all the way muted. No. That's weird. I can read your lips now. But all right. Well, while he's getting his audio situated, because I know we've been having some issues with the streaming. But just remember, you can follow the show on X. You can follow the show on X at @TheRealRoma_AK. You can follow me on X if you like, Elizabitty213A, and you can also follow Mad Stork at MadStork91. There you are.
Okay, all right. StreamYards is in fact very gay. Super gay, in fact. Through all of my experience and time with StreamYards, StreamYards is the one that I find the most frustrating to get to work correctly.
I know it always it seems to search through your computer for like whatever other platform you're using for your devices, and it does like a tug of war with it. I don't know what goes on.
The truth is I actually have something in my computer that will do noise canceling on the front end, and sometimes Discord just decides it doesn't want to work with it.
Oh, yeah.
So
I know
stopped
all these
using it.
things aren't compatible. I wonder why, because they want you to buy the adapters and the this and the that and the other thing
Please buy our preferred answer to the problem and
that we
anything
have
else you
created.
have.
Right, right.
Yeah, so
Anyhow, but yeah, why don't we get started, because we got a bunch of articles as always for you guys. The first one is really, really interesting, and I can't wait to actually get your comments on this one. Coming to you from the Hill, Jeffries, that's Hakeem Jeffries, that is, backs Trump's pardon of Cuellar. Exactly the right outcome, he said. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat from New York, on Wednesday backed President Trump's decision to provide a preemptive pardon for Representative Henry Cuellar, suggesting the corruption charges against the longtime Texas Democrat were so, quote, thin that he wouldn't have been convicted anyway. He went on to say, I don't know why the president decided to do this, but I think the outcome was exactly the right outcome. The remarks are a stark contrast from Jeffrey's criticisms of the scores of other pardons Trump has offered, mostly to his political allies throughout his second term. Jeffries, joined by most Democrats in his caucus, has bashed those reprieves as both an affront to the nation's criminal justice system and more evidence that the Trump administration is the most, quote, corrupt in the country's history. But in the case of Cuellar, the Democratic leader has taken a softer approach, and Wednesday, following Trump's pardon, Jeffries questioned the legitimacy of the corruption charges against him, saying, listen, the reality is this indictment was very thin to begin with, in my view. Jeffries told CNN the charges were eventually going to be dismissed, if not at the trial court level, then by the Supreme Court, as they've repeatedly done in instances just like this. Cuellar said he hasn't spoken with Trump and was given no heads up that the pardon was coming. But, quote, I'm going to go to the White House Christmas party next week, and I'm going to thank the president personally. That was what Cuellar told reporters on Capitol Hill. He also vowed to remain a Democrat and predicted he'll win re-election next November. Said this is a conservative district, and I will win, he said. So, a lot of people are kind of scratching their heads between this pardon and also the recent
one more
pardon.
paragraph down. One more paragraph down. Just one more paragraph.
Oh, you want me to read that? Okay, yeah, sure. Cuellar and his wife Imelda were indicted in May 2024 on federal charges of bribery, money laundering, and foreign influence peddling. The Justice Department accused the pair of accepting $600,000 in bribes from two separate businesses, a Mexican bank and a petroleum company run by the government of Azerbaijan. In return, Cuellar used his influence in Congress to push for policies beneficial to both, according to the Justice Department. Their trial was set to begin in April.
I'm not really that interested in the Mexican bank thing, because here's the thing, just the simple truth of it. In Texas, we just kind of accept that whatever the politics are on the border are going to affect the politics in Texas. It's just part of the way that works. It's just always there. But that Azerbaijan one,
especially when you think of everything that's going on in Texas right now with all of these different factions opening up.
There's a lot to that one. I have some questions about Azerbaijan. I have a lot of interesting questions about Azerbaijan, like, why did the government have some sort of an influence on that? What exactly was going on there? Turns out that he gave some speeches that were a little more favorable to some legislation that had to deal with Azerbaijan. So there was, in fact, a pay-to-play kind of thing going on. Now, whether or not he made that decision because he got political donations or any of that, yeah, that's real thin. They're going to have a hard time convicting him on that. But that's what he got in trouble for. It wasn't the Mexico thing, real honest. If you were going to lock up every politician who potentially had $1,000 donation from some Mexican thing that was loosely tied to some business, honestly, I don't know if there are too many Mexican politicians from there. But I'm getting a question in a side chat here about APEC. Correct. It's not different. There is no difference between this and APEC. I, for one, would like to see that be changed in our political system. We shouldn't be getting money from these international organizations. And the Azerbaijan one is the one that I find more interested in. And the reason that I mean, I can look this up just to kind of confirm Azerbaijan, because I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. I only misspelled it by a lot of letters. If you look at where that's located, it's near some interesting countries that would have, in that geopolitical region, would have an interesting connection to a lot of things Trump is doing.
Okay.
A lot of things Trump is doing.
Okay.
Because on the northern border you have Kazakhstan. On the eastern border you have Turkmenistan, which is right next to Uzbekistan. A lot of people don't know this, but during the first Trump administration, they continued a lot of development in that region that stretches back all the way to the Biden administration and a little bit before that. We've been developing that region for quite a while. And the reason we're doing that is because we're trying to head off a lot of influence from what's called the Belt and Road Initiative. You're familiar with this? And so what China's trying to do, expanding through that region and create that Belt and Road Initiative to kind of either go up through Uzbekistan or Turkmenistan. There's a whole lot of political influence, soft power negotiation that are going on there. And I remember back when I was when I was in Korea, probably back towards the beginning of it, there was this one student. He always wanted to have political conversations. He always wanted to increase his ability to talk about things. Eventually, I actually just started to teach him the political compass and started to take any topic and break it down on that, which was interesting. But, looking for political stories always for this guy to talk about, because, he didn't want to talk too much Korean things. He wanted to be more international with things. I ran across these stories of these bridges that we were building in Uzbekistan. Why is the U.S. building bridges in Uzbekistan? Like, this is just a very strange question, right? And sure enough,
I imagine you have to go. Yeah, go ahead. But like go through like treaties and whatnot and see what was in any kind of mediatory action that we took between two different nations or areas.
It's not even that complicated. It was literally just for political influence because they were on the northern border with Afghanistan. So we were trying to get different things from them in cooperation with fighting the Taliban.
To be able to right. Okay.
The few things, very few things I think we did in Turkmenistan. Uzbekistan kept popping up though. I was like, that honestly, that job was probably where I learned to read news, parse news, all of those things. And, because that was literally my job, was to take a big, long political article and shrink it into something that a student could understand and to paraphrase reason, and then we could discuss it. And Uzbekistan, and again, never talked about it in class, but I was just like, what the hell? This is absolutely crazy. And the more I found out stuff about that and the Kazakhstan region, things like that, it was fascinating. Honestly, I think the reason Borat was made because he probably ran across something like that, and he was just like, I'm going to make a movie. I'm going to say I'm from Kazakhstan, and basically have a whole conversation about that. But Azerbaijan is another one of those countries. It's one of the countries that's on the opposite side, because Georgia, Tbilisi, Azerbaijan, and Turkey are all there on the Black Sea. So militarily, these are all on Russia's doorstep. And so why now are we bailing out a politician? Because again, he probably didn't get in trouble for the Mexico thing. Again, if you told me that some guy who lived on the border had some interaction with the government of Mexico, I'm not shocked. These are things that are not going to shock me. But I'm just going to be honest. There's not a lot of people I know in Texas from Azerbaijan. And that's the thing he got in trouble for, was literally giving a speech that was pro-Azerbaijan. And so I think there's some sort of weird connection here. But the other side of it is again, let's be real honest, this guy's a moderate Democrat. Trump likes those guys. Trump's trying to bail these guys out. So
Well, yeah, I mean that's what he's trying to say. Like, well, this is what his explanation is. President Trump is he's trying to right the wrongs of a weaponized DOJ. So that's like when you look at the pardon that just happened with the ex-president of Honduras, and everybody was like scratching their head at that, right on the heels of like the whole questioning of Secretary Hegseth with the double clicking of the narco terrorist boats and things like that, the allegations there. So they were, that was like a big thing that the reporters were asking. So I wonder, and Trump, he had kind of teased that there's going to be more coming in the pardon realm. So I wonder if that's going to be the only common denominator. Like if it goes down the route of like why this guy and his connection with Abidjan, is there going to be any common denominator within these other pardons, or did they all have just this common denominator of the weaponized DOJ, and then they all have like their own angles?
yeah, I see what Brian's saying there in the chat, which is the whole Trump is a moderate Democrat. Yes, he is in fact a moderate Democrat from the 90s. Him and Clinton got along for a reason. He stayed around Hillary Clinton too long because him and Bill got along for too long. And I know a lot of people are out there now already being like Epstein, whatever kind of thing, right? They hear me say something like that. But no, he had a good relationship with Bill Clinton and the Clintons. And for a large portion, that was because of business.
Yeah.
But also because Trump is a charitable guy. Anybody who goes back and reads about Trump back in the 80s, 90s, and everything, he's been involved with the NAACP forever.
Constantly funding, campaigns and, helping people out, like all these stories, these human interest stories and things like that we've heard throughout the campaign trail.
Well, yeah. I maintain the reason that Trump split with the Democratic Party, though, was because of the lie that Hillary's campaign told him regarding certain individuals who won the presidential campaign back in 2008. I think that is the specific moment. Because if you were to go back to like 2005, 2006, and you were going to be like, oh, Trump's on a news program. Which news program would you think he was on?
CNN.
Probably would have been on CNN. Maybe MSNBC, but most likely CNN. After 2005, he wasn't, after 2008, he wasn't going on CNN. He was going on Fox. So 100%. I agree with what Brian's saying there. Biddy for... Sorry,
oh, yeah. Hey, Doug. That's like an ongoing joke.
It's okay. No.
I know the Cuellar children, they wrote a letter petitioning to President Trump, trying to appeal to his thoughts on the weaponization and everything. And I was watching a little bit of CNN earlier, and the panel was like kind of, scrambling to try and figure out, what's his play here, and if he just, anybody who appeals to his ego, he'll go right ahead and do it. But whether it be something to do with Abidjan, and that's like a whole other angle that I didn't even like, it wasn't even on my radar at all. I was just trying to figure out, like, everything that's going on is, with the auto pen, them going into that and seeing what's going on with that, and then the idea of like everything that went down with the DOJ, and all the different corruptions going on, that are linked to the deep state, and their stronghold over our government for so long, allegedly. But
have you heard the controversy behind some of these allegedly? Have you heard the controversy behind some of these pardons?
For like from just anybody, or from
the left,
from like opposing
the Democrats' opposition to most of these pardons that Trump has been handing out?
Just that, like, appealing to his ego and trying to, criminals, like a lot of dumb stuff, but like just to kind of make it seem like his crimes, weren't important enough and should have been pardoned from the get-go.
And I'm not sitting here saying that these people who are being pardoned didn't have legitimate reasons to be pardoned, but there's 3 or 4 pardons that are really coming up from the left, and these are kind of suspicious things that are happening that I'm just going to point out. Trevor Milton, his family donated $2 million to Trump's reelection. $2 million. And he was pardoned. There's another guy, Paul Walsack, something like that. And he was pardoned. His family donated, I forget how much. There's another guy, though, this one that I had to look up, and there was Brian Kelsey. That was a former Republican Tennessee state senator who pleaded guilty to an illegal campaign finance scheme and was pardoned in March 2025. So he had donated only $15,000. It wasn't that much. This isn't like an ostentatious donation. But again, these are just another example of pardons that keep kind of going on with this, and it's a little suspicious. I'm just saying. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, sometimes I just kind of like, I wonder about like motives and things like that. Money is definitely a motive, you know, that usually is.
Look, I ain't saying it's a thing. I'm just saying.
No. I always just kind of wonder because, you know, I'm open to like any kind of discussion, even though like I'm, you know, a Trump supporter and everything. And I tend to lean on trusting him a lot more than not, in what he does. So, but I do kind of wonder, I'm like, you know, there has to be like, what does this person gain for doing what they do? What do their friends gain for doing what they do? How can it actually benefit them?
It's a quid pro quo. One of the questions, and I mean, it's the next story that we're going to talk about that I keep coming back to, and a lot of why is he targeting the certain cities that he's targeting with deportations? And I mean, you can go into the next part, but my question is why he's targeting those cities to do that. And I'm starting to wonder if it's because he knows somebody or there's a situation, and that's sort of why it is. I mean, he did go to New York early. We both know why, because he's a big New York fanboy.
Yeah.
But you can go ahead and go into the next segment. But I think some of these political decisions are reasons that he's doing these. So.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you do have to be strategic. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, but you know. All right, so from 4WWL, DHS launches Operation Catahoula Crunch in New Orleans. Department of Homeland Security begins the operation to arrest undocumented immigrants accused of violent crimes released under, quote, sanctuary policies. And its goal, arrest undocumented accused of serious crimes who were previously released from jail. Federal officials say sanctuary policies limit or prevent local police from assisting U.S. immigration and custom enforcement ICE arrests. DHS listed at least 10 individuals they say were released from jail by local police. And, you know, I have a question about that because, like, but I'll ask in a second. We'll just kind of finish. Here's a quote released below about Operation Catahoula Crunch. Sanctuary policies endanger American communities by releasing illegal criminal aliens and forcing DHS law enforcement to risk their lives to remove criminal illegal aliens that should have never been put back on the streets, said Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin in a release. It is asinine that these monsters were released back onto New Orleans streets to commit more crimes and create more victims. Catahoula Crunch targets include violent criminals who were released after arrest for home invasion, armed robbery, grand theft auto, and rape. Under President Trump and Secretary Noem, we are restoring law and order for the American people. Hundreds of Border Patrol agents are expected in the city as ICE continues to step up operations. On Monday, several dozen activists marched through the rain from Lafayette Square to City Hall Monday night on the first day of Swamp Sweep operation. That operation is part of a broader months-long crackdown in the region. ICE reported more than 2,800 arrests in October alone. The agency covers 5 states, including Louisiana. So I have a question. And it just like, I don't think I might have, but I know sanctuary policies can basically, like the local law enforcement, they don't have to assist. But are they exploiting the no cash bails and, not holding the criminals and just releasing them back out on the street without holding them? Like, if you hear crimes like Grand Theft Auto and Grape and things like that. Like, why are they being put back out on the streets so quickly? And does that fall under not assisting? Like, I feel like things are just so complicated in some of these situations.
Well, I think there's, if you go back to 2020, if you even go back to 2018, the reason some of these reforms were happening, the people who were doing it in favor of, justice reform, all of that, I think, yeah, some of that was true. But realistically, one of the reasons that let all the prisoners go in 2020 was because it was going to be cheaper.
Oh, okay.
And when you look at New Orleans, when you look at the state of Louisiana, let me put it this way. I'm gonna explain something in Texas, and some people, Brian, will understand. I know he's in the chat and whatnot. Texans will make fun of New Mexico because there's not much there. Texans will make fun of Oklahoma because it's a good rivalry.
I'm not gonna lie. I frequently forget that New Mexico is a thing.
Well, yeah, a lot of people do, which is one of the reasons why we don't make fun of them that much. Arkansas people will make fun of because, well, they're a little weird and they're kind of boisterous. So why not target them? But you know who we don't really make fun of that much?
Who? Louisiana.
Louisiana. You know why?
Because they got enough problems. I don't know.
No, legitimately, they have enough problems, and it's not really cool to pick on the poor kid in your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, what are we going to make a joke about? Like it's just literally that bad. I mean, Brian's pulling up that picture right there. What good would it do for that? And so when it comes to these, releasing people, all of that, there's a lot of situations in Louisiana where they just do not have the money. And some of it's because of the way they tax certain businesses, industries. There's a lot of oil refinery in Louisiana. And I was reading a story probably a year and a half ago, and it was entirely about how because they don't tax those businesses, they lose out on a ton of revenue that they would have to fix some of the problems they have in Louisiana. So there is government corruption at all kinds of levels, and
a lot of red tape to put money in people's pockets. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so it's a real problem in Louisiana. And so when I hear that they're releasing people, they probably just don't have the money. I don't think this is some nefarious thing. And I mean, honestly, when you think Louisiana, Hispanics aren't the first thing that comes to your mind, is it?
No, like Haitian Creole and things like that. But okay, so here's an individual. Yeah. You guys be the judge. Operation Charlotte's Web. This was during the Charlotte, North Carolina protest. But this, just listen to what this person says. Because and it's something that we know pretty much, but it's really interesting.
Well, I mean, what were you doing? What were you trying to do?
I was just, I'm not going to say the group, but there's a couple of groups of volunteers that are just watching ICE, keeping an eye on them, alerting people of the locations they're at. They were blocking me in, and as I was leaving, because they were trying to yell at me because I was in their parking lot, because God forbid someone else is at their 7-Eleven. And then they tried to break into my car, so I drove away quickly, and apparently that made them mad. So,
was there aggressive behavior on your end? Because I heard them give you a warning.
Oh yeah, they were yelling at me, but it's not illegal to be in a 7-Eleven parking lot,
But when you were driving kind of erratically, right? You drove over a curb and you kind of barreled into the parking lot. I saw that happen too. What was the intention of that?
The intention of pulling into a parking lot? Like
no,
I said,
like hopping the curb and speeding into a parking lot.
I don't know what you're referring to. We're with like I said, it's a volunteer group. We're just spotting ICE around Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So in Louisiana specifically, there's a group called Families United in Action, or Familias Unidas en Acción. And it says their organization aims to empower immigrant families in the greater New Orleans area and Louisiana. Their mission focuses on providing resources and support to help these families thrive in a new community while preserving their culture and history, which is also very interesting. But I just wonder, because there was a woman that was talking to officials, and she basically said that let me see if I can find her name. Let me see.
Mercedes
didn't.
DeRosa? No, that's the attorney.
No. Okay. So anyway, it was one of the ladies who she said she works for this program, and she said that just kind of like what California did, because I remember they did this as well. But anybody who felt unsafe to go outside, they were going to get some, funding, to pay for their,
Marcela Hernandez?
I think, yes, that was her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about halfway down in the article from earlier, but yeah.
Yeah. So I just wonder, because, these programs are they NGOs? Are they taxpayer funded? And then you have these people being funded to stay home and not go to work. All these businesses are, they said they go into like areas where it's normally bustling. They're like ghost towns and everything. So at the same time, like, it just seems like a coordinated effort that is being paid for by our tax dollars to keep these people here, obviously, but also to, put in danger our agents and, just make this kind of like chaos.
Well, one, they get the money from USAID in kind of a cyclical nature, because there were literally programs through USAID where the money was going to these other
It
organizations.
just like filters through things, so
and
you
then it
lose
just
track.
goes back up to funding the illegal immigration. So that is one thing. The second thing that they get money from are people who donate, because I'm going to tell you an organization that I know for sure was involved in getting people from one country to another. And it was a story back in 2016, 2017. This was long before Trump was even in office. I think this was back maybe in 2014, 15. The Sin Fronteras is one, but the other one that shocked me when I learned about it was Doctors Without Borders.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I'll look up and find the story. I'll try to shoot it to Brian. See if
I haven't heard. That's like a blast from the past sound, like name that you
they're
don't
still
really
around.
hear from. I mean, but like I haven't heard about them in such a long time. It's just,
well, a lot of people found out what it was they were doing, and so yeah, it was kind of one of those things. Yeah, no, it's sus as hell. Migrant asylum seekers worldwide. So if I remember this correctly in this story, and again, I'll try to pull up the actual story. What they were doing were handing out the cards. Like you've heard nowadays, like this is a common thing, that they hand out cards and what it is they're supposed to tell the agents when they cross the border. To
right.
I'm claiming asylum. I'm a refugee.
Exactly, the
They
right
were
word.
one of the first organizations I ever heard of that were handing out these cards.
That's crazy. I mean, there should have to be a declaration of a crisis in a specific area where they open a refugee program for specific people coming from specific nations. Like you can't, like you shouldn't just be able to like just anybody from freaking anywhere just say, well, I'm claiming asylum because X, Y, and Z. Like there has to be some kind of like crisis that's going on that's okayed by everybody, understood by everybody. Like, okay, like, if they show that this is where they're coming and they have documents to prove that's where they're coming from. And we already declared that there's a huge humanitarian crisis going on in this area and these people are fleeing and we're expecting them to come here. Like, it just, like, I just can't believe there's just like so many loopholes. And then you think of these programs, and I understand that, well, I don't really understand a lot about the sanctuary city crap because it just seems so crazy that was even able to be a thing. But like, how is it that like all of these organizations are able to fly under the radar and still get funded, and then they're promoting obstruction of justice of federal agents, and like these individuals are getting arrested, but there's just going to be another one tomorrow that fills that person's place. So like,
that's literally 100% what it is that happens with them. I've got a few links now that I've put in the side chat over. I don't know if you want to bring them up, you want to scan through them, but they're literally saying how that they've been involved in this for a long while. This is a story, and I don't know if just wondered. Yeah, this is a story here with this thing. This actually shows a comic book from Doctors Without Borders. That the Doctors Without Borders were releasing and going with immigrants on this link that I just put over in the side chat. So these organizations are everywhere. They're constantly getting money.
Wait, what is that percentage down all the way at the bottom? I'm sorry, Brian. Do you mind scrolling all the way down? 84%. What is this? It gives 84% goes to programs. 15% fundraising, 1% to management and general administration.
So a lot of organizations that fundraise, a lot of the money actually goes towards fundraising. So they raise a lot of
to be able to set up the fundraising.
Yeah, but do you know what Hollywood accounting is?
It's just like finding creative ways to move money back into your program.
Kind of, and it's been a while since I've read the story, but there is a particular movie where a particular young wizard goes to a wizard school, and the name of the movie has a stone thing. And it's been a while since I've read this story too, so I may be wrong on some of the details. But the way I read it is the movie technically lost money.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the movie lost money because they overpaid the DVD production company that was in some Southeast Asian country. And it turned out that part of the production, company or whatever owned the DVD company in that Southeast Asian country. And so they overpaid them for the DVDs, and that's why they were below zero on the distribution. That is Hollywood accounting in a nutshell. Is how do we find creative ways to lose money for a tax write-off so that not only do we not need to pay taxes on this, but we can actually claim things on that. That is a comic from Doctors Without Borders that is specifically talking about mass human migration. They made. So you think when you're giving money to Doctors Without Borders that you are giving money for overseas disease and treatment.
Right, for them to be treated in their own areas. And yeah.
No, that you are giving money to them to promote immigration to the United States and Europe. Because I believe one of the reasons that this name first came up, I think, not entirely sure, was there was a particular blonde, young, sort of rambunctious newscaster that got in trouble for some like ad on that site or whatever for that story. There was a rambunctious young blonde who went over and got on a boat with another news person or whatever from the EU, and she was tracking these people who were coming across on these boats into Europe, and she specifically called out Doctors Without Borders as being one of these organizations that were doing it. The girl that she was with and the guy, I'm not going to defend those people, which is one of the reasons that I'm not using names, because she was a little pre-goyish, I'll put it that way. And she had a lot of political opinions that I would not like to be associated with. And I would assume that younger blonde person would also like to be not.
Well, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
No,
but listen, I'm of the mind that it's not always about character when you're trying to figure out whether somebody's telling the truth or not. Sometimes they're telling the truth for their own gain. But either way, that doesn't mean it's not true.
Yeah, and those stories, particularly what the petty bonish person, I'll put that way in the name, she was right about some things, but anyhow, we can get off the topic. We can move on. We've killed this. We beat it to death. The horse is definitely...
No, I mean that. Let me tell you that stuff. I just wanted, before we move on, just one thing. They did, the DHS, they launched the Operation New Orleans. They target criminal aliens, so they did find a gentleman here that actually a bunch, and they were all criminals that were doing like the worst crimes in the area, and they were all just released back out on the street. And then it's just. It's just great. I'm sorry. I just started like a whole new conversation, but
no. Let me put it this way, Biddy. I can kind of wrap this up in a bow. There's like 250 agents that were dispatched.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There were only 100 dispatched to Minnesota in the Dearborn, Michigan for the Somali problem, as well as Minnesota. There's only 100 agents dispatched for that.
Mhm.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we didn't get to go over it, but there was a couple of things that I wrote down about like the areas. Like if supposedly just in the Charlotte area there was 161,000 people that were on final orders of removal.
Yeah.
That's just one part alone.
But why Louisiana get 250 while these other areas in the Somali that Trump just called out only got 100? Because they don't have manpower. Literally, they don't have the manpower there locally. None of the local police offices could help them if they wanted to, because a lot of those guys were just defunded with the whole defund the police, Black Lives Matter, all of those things. It was, again, Louisiana was just looking for a way to cost cut in a lot of these situations. Not all of them, but in a lot of them they were. And they probably couldn't even process these guys appropriately.
Even if they allowed them to, they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of them.
No. I mean, you could see it, like even like on all these videos, just that are always being posted with police body cams. It's like all these traffic stops and whatnot. Used to be two cops, like one be on the other side and one on the other side, and now it's just one cop always, and they always got to call for backup and in like a frantic. But yeah, like I said, this is just something we could just kind of talk about forever. But let's move to Hong Kong, not literally, but for the next article, let's not do that.
I've heard it was nice to live in once upon a time. I actually met a couple from Hong Kong once when I was in Korea. They were a lovely couple. But yeah, no, I wouldn't move there today at anything. I bet they got out. I bet they and a lot of people got out in the last couple of years.
Yeah. All right. So from Fox News, Hong Kong leader says we must uncover the truth after deadly apartment fire, calls for building reform. I'm telling you, when I seen this video, I don't know if you guys in the chat, if you've seen the videos, there's a picture down at the bottom here, but I thought that the death toll was going to be way higher because of just like the density of everything. But Hong Kong's chief executive said he will establish an independent committee to examine and reform the city's building work system as part of efforts to prevent future disasters following the deadly Tai Po fire. John Lee told reporters at a news conference Tuesday that reforms are urgently needed after at least 159 people were killed when the fire engulfed several high-rise residential towers in Hong Kong's Tai Po district in late November. We will overcome the obstacles of vested interests and pursue accountability regardless of who he or she is. We must uncover the truth, ensure that justice is served, let the deceased rest in peace, and provide comforting to the living, said Lee. The Hong Kong leader shared that 13 people were arrested by police for suspected manslaughter, and roughly a dozen others were arrested by the Independent Commission Against Corruption for corrupt practices which relate to this tragedy. Maybe some cutting of corners and things like that. The Hong Kong Police Department said Wednesday they have completed searches of all 7 fire-damaged buildings and identified 140 of the 159 victims. The Hong Kong Fire Services Department said it received reports of a blaze breaking out at the Wang Fuk Court in Tai Po, a district in the Northern New Territories, around 2:50 p.m. on November 26. The fire was upgraded to a number 5 alarm, the most severe rating in Hong Kong, by 6:22 p.m. I mean, that doesn't look like a 5-alarm fire. That looks like every fire truck that's anywhere, like just needs, like anywhere in the entire city needs to come, not just in the surrounding areas. I mean, do you see this?
Yeah, I do.
I can't even believe that there was only 150 people killed. I mean, it does look like some of these buildings were like still in production, so maybe they weren't full.
They were all still in production, as far as I understand it.
Okay, so it was a lot of workers then.
Yeah. Are you familiar with a lot of high-rise construction practices or anything like that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to.
I'm in NYC, so I've seen productions go on for like 30 years, and the scaffolding is always up.
Well, like, okay, when they're building a big building, have you been around one of those?
Yeah. Like the beams and everything go up, and yeah.
Yeah, when there's scaffolding on the side, if you're familiar with that. And
yeah.
On the scaffolding, generally, when you're walking down the street in New York, for example, there's like a platform above your walking space, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's to keep things from just crashing on your head, generally just small debris and stuff. But when you get, so high, what it is they actually start doing is putting in nets.
Yeah,
So the
because
stuff as it's falling starts to
it
get
won't
broke.
fall straight. Yeah.
Yeah, it won't fall straight. It won't, and they're also usually angled so the stuff falls towards the inside and whatnot. But there's a last sentence or last paragraph on that story, which is the scaffolding was all made of bamboo. Um, I
Isn't
mean,
that isn't that supposed to be like the strong, like it's super strong? Don't they use that for kind
well, sure, it's super strong, but it's also super flammable. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And so there's a lot of problems with that in that situation of what's going on. So it's just the way it is. The entire building went up because the entire building was surrounded and had bamboo all the way inside of it. There's something in the United States called the International Building Code. For any multifamily over a certain height or something like that, you'd have to call that.
Mhm.
But really, what it is that caused all of this is the lack of something like OSHA.
Right.
Now, I mean, like, I've gotten into arguments with people over building codes and requirements, so in safety stuff like this is why it exists.
Hmm.
This is just flat out clearly why.
I mean, listen, anything that's put into place like that where they require permits over time, you're going to get greedy people that are going to corrupt it and make it, put a whole bunch of red tape just so they can make more money and make their friends money and different things like that. Like nothing is perfect, but you can't just flat out not have it. You have to have it.
Yes, I get the joke, Brian. But
It's
trying to draw attention to that one right there.
funny. He's letting everybody know the drug record story's coming. But yeah. So I mean that's really sad to hear.
Well, it's sad though, but a lot of this, honestly, is because they're fast building things the same way because China's taken over Hong Kong and they've gone into the building industry and they're now building cheap high rises the way that they used to. And it's again, most of the buildings in China are built to increase like a GDP thing. It's a false inflation of the economy. But most of the buildings in Hong Kong are actually being thrown up because they need them.
Yeah.
These are legitimate things. But again,
I wonder if this was arson. Like if that's the case. I mean, just kind of like an speculatory, like ooh kind of thing.
no, honestly, in my opinion, there's all kinds of welding things like metal, like trusses,
like sparks flying and whatnot.
Yeah, and you have bamboo next to that.
Yeah. I mean, you would think if that's what they use, like they would have like, well, I guess not. I always try to apply like the way that we do things here to other nations, like, and it doesn't, because they do things a lot differently, especially like what you said with OSHA.
Yeah, I've been on Asian job sites, like construction sites before, in Asia, and they're fascinating because there's tiny little things that are different, but there's so much that's just exactly the same. And part of that's because we did the hard work of having a bunch of people die that caused us to change the way we build things and what we make them out of. The United States was at the forefront of modern building construction, and people dying from that back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So we said there should be a rule, and then we passed one, and suddenly people stopped dying.
Right.
Crazy how that works.
Like magic. Yeah.
I'm not a big government guy, all of that kind of stuff, but I like I said, I've had arguments with people, and they're just like, "What does this building code exist?" The building code is there for a reason. Now, your local city may have passed some dumb shit that needs to be revoked, repealed, any of those kind of things. That may be a thing because
I mean, it's seductive to go all or nothing on a concern or a conversation, but I try to remind myself as well too that like things are just way more complicated than what it looks like on surface level. But there are a lot of people that explain.
I don't want to get into it too much, but my job currently, I might have a new job soon, but my job currently deals a lot with structural engineering. And I am not a structural engineer, but I deal with a lot of these codes and things that have to deal with this. And so I understand fully why people in the West are like, why does this exist? Why are we having to do this? Why do we? Sometimes it's just because something bad happened. And so we said, we're not going to have this happen again.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like why when people call me up at my job and they're like, why do we have to do these forms? Why do we need why are they asking for referrals for this, that, and the other thing? And I'm like, it's all because of reasoning. You know, like something happened, people were abusing something, things, you know, whatever. People got sued. Now all of this is in place. So you thank your neighbors for that. I usually tell them. Like,
there was a city one time that somebody really rich decided to sue the city over something that they didn't require, and they wanted it there. So the city tried passing a law for it, and we just sat there and thought, we're not going to do this. Like we literally just looked at each other. We're not going to do this. And the city was like, what do you mean? And then like we were like, we'll come to a city hall and have a meeting for this, but we're not going to sign off on this because it's stupid. And they're like, why? And we're like, well, because of blah 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 blah.
Right.
Sometimes local cities do dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to.
But it's so much easier in states where people walking around like zombies and just let everything happen to them. But talking about
like Hong Kong, where you have people climbing bamboo towers and then spark and bad things happen.
Right. Sparky. Well, talking about people roaming around kind of inebriated. Hey, I did a transition. I was so excited to say it too. Would you like to read this article?
You know what?
Is that all right?
I think I closed the tab, but it'll take me all of 2 seconds to pull this up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very, very intoxicated. And when I say very, I mean floggered. I mean full-on Irish piss levels. A very intoxicated raccoon trashes Virginia liquor store, then passes out face first in bathroom, only telling me that he didn't have the common sense to at least lay down in a tub, like I did that one time. He was trashed. He was a very intoxicated raccoon went on a drunken rampage inside a Virginia liquor store that passed out face first in the bathroom. Local officials say the masked bandit was found snoozing in a booze-induced haze by the toilet Sunday morning after trashing an Ashland ABC store, which is not the best of liquor stores. So I'm just going to start here with, he could go with some higher class liquor, folks. Leaving behind a trail of broken liquor bottles, disheveled shelves, and toppled boxes. According to the Hanover County Animal Protection Shelter, they are funny little creatures, Samantha Martin, an animal control officer who found the raccoon, told the Associated Press. If you scroll down further, it shows all of the wanton destruction that this little guy left behind. I mean, it is just a tragedy. Look at all
we
of those.
We actually have a little video of the surveillance I found on another article.
Yeah. We probably should find that video. But I'm just going to be honest with this one. Mm-hmm. I'm a little shocked at that one bottle, and I'm gonna say that's whiskey. I'm just going to go ahead and say that's whiskey. I'm shocked that one bottle didn't break. How did that one bottle not break? Was it plastic? Is this how cheap we're going here with an ABC liquor store?
Maybe, because there are some liquor bottles that are plastic.
Well, I see the two over there that are like margarita mixed colored. And so, I mean, if you're not going to have the tequila, why would you want in that anyways? I applaud the raccoon on his choices.
I'm pretty sure that's a bottle of Kentucky Gentleman, which is about bottom shelf, rock gut. Don't ask me how I know.
That's funny. So it didn't have to fall.
Photos of the shelter suggest that this tipsy little critter did not hold his alcohol, and in fact, just basically took samples like it was some sort of cheap Saturday whiskey tasting competition.
I mean, I beg to differ, bro. I mean, he held his liquor pretty well. I mean, there's a lot of bottles crashed there.
He sampled Scotch whiskey, including Jameson. Officials said they transported the trash critter back to the shelter to sober up at a weekend in the county before questioning, and later released him back into the wild. He did have to have an intervention with his wife later and the kid of raccoons on their back, but he says he's going to try to sober up, become a better dad, and that's what happened.
He's going to come home with cigarettes.
Yeah. This one time I went to the liquor store, guys.
Look,
I was just crawling around, fell through, had an amazing time. It was great.
But wait, watch this one. Look at him. He's like weeble wobbling. Look. I was waiting for him to like get on a table and start going like this with his little paws up. Blame it on the
I need more liquor. I need more liquor.
One of the
Every
comments
minute
on
matters.
the
report from
original
Disability Law Center of Virginia. Or
it says college dorms, 1990s, Army barracks, 2000s, fine memories.
Oh yeah. So anyhow, he's not supposedly hurt. He is
No.
a little hungover, obviously. Hopefully they put an IV or something in. I'm sure they did when
They probably had to. Not, I mean, like, all jokes aside, they probably did have to kind of flush him out a little bit. But that is like I mean, like, raccoons are wild, bro. I used to be so scared of them because they're like, there's a lot of them in my area. Raccoons and possums, they're like all over the place. And I used to be scared of them. Now I'm just like, I probably wouldn't go up to them still, but like I'm just like, they're so cute and interesting.
They are interesting. They also, they have the weirdest personality. I don't know if you've seen them in the wild, like up close or anything.
No, but I watched this video of this guy who feeds like a whole bunch of them. He's like this raccoon dude. He had like 30 of them like just crawling on him. He feeds them hot dogs and cookies.
One summer, I was between jobs, and a friend of mine was doing sprinkler repair, and I went and helped him. And this old guy had an entire feeding thing in his backyard that he had set up to feed a raccoon, and we were just like
a raccoon, yeah, right.
Well, one, there's that.
They start that, yeah.
What? And then he's like, yeah, and we were like, but the sprinkler head's right there. And he's like, don't disturb the food dish, and we were like. We hope we don't have
too, because they eat a ton, like especially right before it gets like super cold,
well,
and they turn into like these butterballs, and then they go into hibernation.
Are you familiar with any of like the because I had to learn about all this, and I'll explain why real quick. One night, there's a big tumbling noise on the roof. Couldn't understand what it was. We just moved into a new house maybe a couple of months before. I go outside, go around the back, and I kind of hold up my phone light to look on the roof, and I was like, I got to switch to camera immediately because these 4 pairs of little eyes and 1 pair of big eyes are just staring at me with that gleam, through animal eyes that you get. And apparently they always give birth to 4. Like they're 4 kits, I think is what they're called.
Really?
And, oh yeah. And so I was scared to death that I had raccoons in my attic because apparently the reason that they stock up on food for the whole hibernation so bad is because they always have four raccoon kids. And eventually the whole thing, the neighborhood got together and were like, they live in this ditch. We've seen them come out. This is where we got to go and get a little drainage culvert thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But I learned about all that, and I was just kind of fascinated because I never learned about raccoons very much, or odd raccoons, and because that's where the name comes from. But they're mischievous little. Because when I saw them, they looked at me, and the mom was like, and the 4 little kids were like,
"Aww." Yeah, mom's like, "Yeah, you're gonna say something."
And then they just walked around the house because they were like, "He disturbed us. We will now walk into the back and everything, or walk around to the front, climb that tree, and leave." And it was just like very confusing.
Hardy singing in the chat. It's smooth like Tennessee.
1 bourbon, 1
straight together.
1 beer.
What kind of parallel timeline did we just pop into where raccoons can get drunk? Rick said. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I told you about that guy. I wish I could remember right offhand. The guy's channel. It's like this old man. I think he lives maybe in Minnesota, or maybe he lives in Canada. I'm not sure. But yeah, he goes outside and he's got this like really sweet, like calming voice, and he feeds all of them, and they come and they go, and they hibernate during the winter. They all come back and they come with their babies and stuff. But it's like so cute on either side. He always has like these pots full of water so that they can wash their hands while they're eating. And like I think that was the first time that I noticed that they did that. And I was just like, that is so stinking cute.
They wash their food too, a lot of them, because even though they're dirty little dumpster divers, they will clean the food they get out of the dumpster before they eat it.
Yeah.
And crazy
That's
stuff.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
hey, Funkmaster. I was wondering what was happening here. Funkmaster General just gifted 10 memberships. So thank you for that. That
oh,
applause was for
that's
you,
what that
sir.
is.
Thank you very much.
I was like, chat did something weird, and I can't quite figure. And then I like
At first, I thought Brian was just like trolling me.
my camera's like right here, and like the top part of chat is like behind the camera right here, and the lower part is
I
here.
have my phone here, but it keeps going off. It's like being retarded. But yeah, thank you so much, Funk. You're the best, man. No sweat.
That's what, bro.
But yeah, like I seen this video. I think I brought this up like 10 times on Sunset Rants, but anyway, it's so freaking cute. I seen a video once because they do that, right? They wash their food. So somebody gave him one of the raccoons cotton candy. So he went to go wash it in the street. And it starts dissipating, and he's like, "You see?"
I've seen that video. It is hilarious because if I remember correctly, he like hands. I think it's one raccoon, and the raccoon comes back like 2 or 3 times, getting more cotton candy. And every time he goes to wash the cotton candy, it just.
Aww, I would literally like my heart just breaks just thinking about how like
so disappointing
he must be. Sipping on gin and juice. Oh, caption this. Oh, we got somebody yelling for caption this. Yes, you're right. It's caption this time. Let's get it.
I will be good this time. I will try not to.
Not wrong. We still got one more segment.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna do one. Oh yeah, we got to talk about Space Gum. We definitely should talk about that, especially with you here.
I honestly don't like. As nerdy as I am, I'm actually not one of these astronomy guys who's like, Saturn is the gaseous formation of whatever, and that's why we have rings around it, and it's primarily made up. And like, there's one. I do know one weird fact. There is a cloud of gas somewhere that apparently is supposed to taste like rum.
No.
That's the strangest fact I know about space. You're welcome.
Okay, so CBS News, space gum and sugars discovered in asteroid Bennu samples, NASA reveals. Samples taken from the asteroid Bennu are continuing to shed light on the origins of the solar system. Scientists have been studying the samples since NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft carried them back to Earth in 2020 and recently discovered that they contain sugars and a gum-like substance not seen before in astromaterials. The revelations and how they can help answer big questions about the beginnings of life are described in 3 new papers published Tuesday by the journals Nature Geosciences and Nature Astronomy. In the first paper, scientists led by Yoshihiro Furukawa of Japan's Tohoku University focus on sugars uncovered in the asteroid samples, which are characterized as essential building blocks for biology on Earth. The second, by Scott Sanford at NASA's Ames Research Center and Zach Gainsforth of the University of California at Berkeley, reveals that the ancient space gum also present in the samples could have played a foundational role in catalyzing Earth early life on our planet. The third paper, led by Anne Wingen of I never know how to say that, and like there's so many doctors that have that name, and I still don't know how to say that.
Sorry, where is it? Which one?
It's like the Nguyen. Last name is it
Nguyen?
Win?
Nguyen.
It is Nguyen.
Not Nguyen. Nguyen.
Nguyen. Okay, that.
Listen up. I'm not.
Of Nguyen.
Like new car.
Like nougat.
Nougat. There we go.
Okay. Of NASA's Johnson Space Station analyzed dust from 2 different types of rock that OSIRIS-REx collected from Bennu, which initially came from the stars that predate the solar system. It's very interesting too. Ingredients for existence. Each of the 3 papers zeroes in on a clue from the Bennu asteroid as to how the solar system developed and how life on Earth eventually came to be. The sugars discovered in the asteroid samples, along with other molecules like amino acids previously detected in them, do not necessarily provide evidence of life, NASA said, but they do show that fundamental elements of the compounds that make up living organisms and allow biological processes to happen within individual cells were, at least at one time, widespread throughout the solar system. Some of the basic molecules used to construct DNA and RNA a vital messenger that codes and decodes genetic information were found in the samples from Bennu. That's wild.
So those molecules are essentially like one is over here, one is over here, and if they were connected by one more piece, that is DNA, is what they're saying. So
Right.
they're just missing one piece in there
To fill in the gene sequence taps.
Yeah. I like I said, I am not a large chemistry, biology kind of guy. I honestly never took A&P, and the reason I never took A&P, not A&P, anatomy and physiology. Yeah, A&P. The reason I never took anatomy and physiology in college was because I'm horrible with names. So I'm not going to be able to sit there and remember 2,000 different names for what it is. Like the card number.
I wish that they would make that a little more like it's just so ridiculous. It's like every alphabet just jumbled together and then like however
it's the
it comes
alphabet that
out.
is my problem. It's the rest of it's that easy. It's the Latin names are easy for me. It's the chemical notation.
Latin names is kind of like in our history. It's easy for not easy, but it just kind of rolls off of the genetic tongue. But these other things that they make up, it's like.
But what it has here essentially is nitrogen and oxygen in a polymeric material, which is basically nitrous oxide, which is a very, very, very common thing once you combine it with amino acids to create basic forms of life, like things that build up RNA and mRNA, DNA, all of that kind of stuff. And so I am familiar enough with that section of it that it'd be great. But
I tend to ask the question, like, why are we doing this?
Honestly, we're doing it because we're trying to figure out sources of different things, because so there's a couple of things. One with it. One, we're trying to. A lot of people who cannot accept biblical, what I would call biblical truth. A lot of people who can't accept that are trying to study where things may have come from. I am a Christian, so just throwing that out there. So they're looking for answers in different places. Some of them, who are a natural scientist, for example, as they used to be called, they're looking to explain what it is God created. They're just trying to understand more. And others are out there trying to look for more natural combinations that we haven't tried here on Earth yet, because they want to make new stuff.
Right.
And the thing about it is there's sometimes something new in one culture, in one petri dish, but you have to go to another culture or petri dish or something like that to find something new. And we have all of the combinations that are probably possible already here on Earth. So we might need to go look in a new box
because they were so far from each other.
Yeah, we might need to go look in a new box for new stuff and find different ways that things can combine. Because we can either sit here and try to smash rocks together until two things combine, or we can go look in another box.
Right. Okay. Well, I hope it's I hope it's for a good reason. I know that reference too. Yes, friends. Yeah. But yeah, I always just like kind of wonder, but there was like a really cool moment in here when you talk about like biblical references and things like that, where they were saying like, the stars were there before the solar system. I was like, you don't say.
Well, I always find it funny. The more I read about science, the more I'm like, yeah, that matches up with an old story I know.
I love that. I'm so fascinated when I see like ex-scientists or current scientists, physicists and things like that, where they go so deep into it that they start they were once atheists and then they start believing in an almighty creator, and then they kind of go from there. Or they don't, they just stop there, but they just at least agree that there had to be somebody who created, or something, some entity that created.
This is way off topic, okay? But in evolution, where did life start first, they say?
Some like, life form in the water. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And where did life go next?
Pond scum. Eventually towards like chimps, and then
on the land. And then eventually they got into the sky. Why would a story from a tribal nation in the middle of nowhere put it in the exact order that later biology decided was correct.
Like either you're saying that we kind of reset, and that's another thing that's been being talked about, is like ancient civilizations had a lot of the technology we have now and different things to explain, why there's all this other kind of stuff. Yeah.
I really don't have to get much more creative with explaining things like that. Literally, how we have tracked biology is quite literally how the story was written thousands of years ago, or first spoken
However long, yeah.
through an oral tradition.
Mm-hmm.
How did these you explain to me that, okay? Explain to me how those two things match up. And then we can have a further conversation on whether or not we believe anything else is right. Like if you're going to sit there and just deny there's too many things like that in the Bible that I'm just
a coincidence. Yeah, exactly. I know.
It's
really cool. It fascinates me. I love it. I just love reading stuff like that.
Anyhow.
But yeah, hopefully it turns out and we get something good from it. So that would be cool. Is it captioned this time? I see it. Oh, what is all of that? It looks like Upchuck from Raccoon's party night. What is that?
I have captions, by the way, that I want to give for this, but I'm trying to be reserved here.
That is some really gnarly stuff right there. Look at the hand and everything. All right. Okay. So anyway, if you guys are new to the show, this is Caption. This is a show we play, a game we play at the end of every Sunset Rants show. It's an AI generated image. No, this is not a photo of a real thing. And we ask you, the audience, to please participate and give us some funny captions. And then Stork and I at the end will just vote on our favorites and pick a winner.
It's not a real photo that you know of or that we will admit.
Is it? Is it real? Is it fake? You be the judge.
Could be.
Sleep with one eye open. You can't. Like anybody who loves that song, you can't just sing that first part. Yeah, that is really, really gross. Yeah, let's see. Has anybody put anything in the chat yet? Let me go.
I honestly have just been reading chat when Brian brings it up, so I will go back and try to find.
Yeah, Rebel. See, Rebel remembers the washed cotton candy. That is like the sweetest video and like also heartbreaking.
Yep.
And you thought your new Jordans were made in a sweatshop.
Right. Cal Flung-Koo, Dad, the poor raccoon who vanished with cotton candy all melted. You guys, by the way, have one of the least delayed streams that I've ever been on. Haha, Hardy Penny Colada songs.
Oh yeah, because the way that Brian pulls it up, he pulls it up differently. It's not through a different stream.
Yeah, get a picture.
How did you guys get a picture of my local shoe repair guy? No photos, just taking a gamble. Going through up there, news dating and shows and series. Okay.
I have one, just for the record. I have some really good ones, in my opinion, but I'm not going to ruin this like I did last time, Betty. I'm not going to do it.
How did you ruin it?
Because I gave one and then ruined the whole thing.
I don't remember any of that. I don't remember you ruining anything.
Elizabitty, that one's pretty good one. I like that one.
You know the reference?
Oh yeah.
Any older millennial Gen X will definitely know the reference.
But it's also topical with today's stories. There's an instant win condition. What is the instant win condition?
If you get close to the prompt that was used to generate the image.
Oh. Okay.
And he played a little too much Mario. Oh my gosh, I've been playing like Super Mario Brothers and Sonic the Hedgehog all week because I'm off from work. Rotting my brain.
I've been meaning to get to some games, but I honestly just haven't had time lately. I've been too busy.
Yeah.
So-
I just been baking and playing video games and cleaning and organizing and stuff. The boring
Now,
stuff.
when you say baking, what do you mean there, Elizabeth?
I had to make my grandmother's walnut cookies. It's like the thumb cookies with the walnuts and the jam in the middle. And then so I made those for Thanksgiving. And then her anisette cookies, I made those and I had to give them to my mom and her friends and stuff. So my husband was upset. So I made him another batch. And then I usually make like artisan bread every other day. And then I'm trying to make a sourdough. I'm on day 5 making a sourdough starter.
All right, we've had enough suggestions. Here's my suggestion for the particular caption. It's never visit Earth. There's gum everywhere.
That's cute. I love that.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
I got some nitrous oxide polymer on my shoe.
A rebel with the real story behind Flubber. Remember that movie? That
was amazing, especially the remake with Robin Williams. I like that one. The original wasn't
right.
bad either,
I forgot it was a remake.
There was.
I just noticed my bias yesterday about remakes because I didn't know The Quick and the Dead was a remake, and I love that movie.
Okay. Real quickly, did anybody lose the game today?
Don't you dare. And now we all lost it. You can't even talk about it. You already lose it.
I just wanted to make sure that we throw that out there at some point. I changed it from what Brian saw the other day when people lost the game. Then I'm just making sure that people have had an opportunity to play the game. What is this? What Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos will do to the Amazon rainforest? Pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. We'll go with this is what cocaine-fed sharks poop. It's another good one. It's another one. Lots of those.
Number 1, visiting Earth, don't land in Asia.
Yeah. I feel a lot of these are good. But what we probably need to focus more on is like the alien aspect of this, which is, I don't know. Something there. We got to play up the alien side more. What do we got? Anything? Anybody?
The things I do for some Reese's Pieces. Now that is a nod to E.T., I think.
I like this.
I love
Not too bad. The real story behind it. Honestly, Rebel, I like the real story behind Flubber. That one just, it touches my heart more.
Yeah, that's really cute. I love that.
That's the one. Ben 10 played a little too much Mario. I didn't read that until just now. So actually, that one's not bad either.
Which one?
The Ben 10 one, that was actually a pretty good one. I never really watched Ben 10, but when I worked in a children's home and took care of little kids, they were all into that cartoon at the time, like the original back in the day. And they just watched it nonstop whenever it was a rainy day and people couldn't go out. I like Rebels as well. That one, Rebels or the Ben 10 one, I think both of those are just so off the wall with things.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that you do stuff for. Oh my gosh, Rick! Now I have that jingle in my head. For a Klondike bar.
Yeah. We just watch Follow
I
Me.
actually don't really like Klondike bars that much. Like every time I have them in the freezer, I'll have it. It's good, but I'm just like, the ice cream's like a little bubbly for me. It's
that
not
human sneezed. There's another caption for you. That human Sneezed.
We just watched Follow Me Boy Sunday, so I'm thinking about those old Disneys. Yeah.
So much better than getting cast in the new Predator movie.
That's good.
For whatever reason, just for kind of a fun fact about me, the person who was in charge of picking movies that we got to watch for a while was really in love with the movie Mac and Me. It's a horrible movie. I would not recommend this movie to anyone, but I've probably seen it 3 or 4 times.
Mac and Me. I've never even heard of that movie.
Do you not know Mac and Me?
No. Is that like Mac like a computer?
No. Mac and Me is not like Mac computer. Mac and Me is the strangest movie that was like an E.T. ripoff trying to jump on a bandwagon thing that you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, all right. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a lot of the what do we call the key points or whatever, the key
Like
moments,
Easter eggs and things like that.
kind of. It's like E.T. from Wish. And I'm pretty sure he's called Mac and Me, and because McDonald's had some sort of sponsorship in it.
No way. Oh my gosh, have you ever seen the movie The Founder?
Yes.
With
I've
Michael
seen
That
clips of
movie
it,
is so good.
and I think I started watching it sometime a long time ago, and something interrupted it, and I never got to finish it.
That was
But
really
that is also an example of why corporations are so bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we have to pick one, I guess. How long do we?
Yes. Well, we're really over, but let me. I guess let's go with Rebels, because I think that's super adorable. I like that one.
That
The
was
real
not bad.
story behind Flubber.
I vote Rebel.
You wrote Rebel? Okay. All right. Well, congratulations, Rebel. The real story behind Flubber. Yeah, so you win Caption This for the day. Do you know what this that looks like on the it really does look like Upchuck, because it reminds me of like The Witches of Eastwick, that movie with Jack Nicholson where he's like making the lady with cherries, the cherry pits and everything, and it's like going everywhere. That's like reminding me of that. It's making me grow. But yeah.
Another possible caption. I picked up these when we were after. Oh, sorry. I picked these up after we vaporized that human.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for always hanging out with us. As I always tell you, appreciate you guys hanging out all night, watching with us and commenting and talking with us and stuff. And Stork, thank you for coming back. Always love to have you. Congratulations, Rebel. Yep, with no yell, with the Caption This win. And if you guys want to follow the show, as I said earlier, you can go to risewithmiddleamerica.com, and you can use the little Q&R code at the top of the screen there. You can also follow the show on X at @therealroma_AK. You can follow me if you like, Elizabitty213A, and you can also follow Mad Stork at MadStork91 on X. You have any final thoughts, sir?
We should definitely not let raccoons visit an asteroid.
No, definitely not. Although seeing them in like a little like astronaut uniform might be like the cutest thing ever. Maybe
is it Uranus Uranus that has the clouds that are made of alcohol? I feel like one of the planets has something with alcohol in it also. Also not
a rum with Venus.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know if that's Venus though.
Saturn?
That's like a cloud out there. Anyhow, raccoons should not be allowed in space. That's all I'm saying. It will end badly for all of us people.
They'll just bring all their garbage with them. But all right, well, you guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening and happy Wednesday. You're halfway through the week. And don't forget, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, Sunset Rants. And I hope you have a great night. Bye.
There you go.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, make America great again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.